With me now is the Attorney-General of New South Wales, Greg Smith SC. Attorney, welcome.
Thank you.
You're trying to get around this High Court rejection of Nathan Rees's anti-bikie legislation. How are you wrangling that with your new attempt?
Well, the High Court was quite clear that the only portion of the 2009 legislation that was flawed constitutionally was the portion that dealt with the eligible judge giving a declaration, which is the first step, a declaration that a gang is an unlawful gang, because that judge didn't have to give reasons. And so we've changed it by making it obligatory for the judge to give reasons, but as to the confidential material, he or she will be able to suppress those aspects.
OK, but before this judicial officer, this eligible judge, the police, you as Attorney-General will have to produce a whole raft of confidential information saying this bikie gang has been responsible for this number of offences.
That's right.
And you can do that?
I'm confident we can.
Now, the poor people of Wanganui in New Zealand got their council to carry a bylaw banning bikies from wearing their insignia patches because the community was frightened after a little girl was killed.
Yes.
The High Court of New Zealand struck that down on civil liberties grounds. Have you looked in your package of measures at that?
Well, it was given some consideration but not carried through. The police didn't press that, but it's something that we'll keep an open mind about.
So if this gets through the New South Wales Parliament and withstands High Court challenge, you would see a time in this state where an outlaw motorcycle gang would be proscribed, control orders issued to stop their criminal activities.
That's right. The control orders would stop them associating with each other. It would be a criminal offence for them to do that, and various other matters. They wouldn't be able to hold various types of licence, including security guard licences and matters of that sort, which would really cut back their activities, and that needs to happen.
Let's talk about RICO, the racketeer-influenced criminal organisation which is attributed in the United States to busting the mafia, a disciplined hierarchy of organised crime. Why haven't you gone for RICO in your response to this organised crime threat?
Well, we've looked at RICO, we looked at other laws in Canada and England and other places. RICO didn't seem to be potentially successful here for a state body to bring in because it covers corporations, as it were, racketeer activity in a corporation sort of sense, with the, like the chairman of the board giving directions and other directors, as it were, carrying out those directions. Bikie gangs, from my information, don't operate like that.
So they're much more ad hoc in their organisation.
That's right.
But you still acknowledge that they are responsible for the manufacture and distribution of amphetamines and hydroponic marijuana?
Well, that's what I understand, and many of them have been prosecuted and convicted for that sort of activity, and they are a danger to Australia, as far as I'm concerned. If the Commonwealth were willing to get more involved in this fight, and I think they should because it is a national fight, then they may be able to consider RICO. It would be better if it was a national law, because many of the activities of these gangs takes place in various states at the same time.
Now, the police complain that even if they had legislation saying that they could charge people, victims of drive-by shootings who won't name names, they could actually charge them, they still wouldn't get it out of them because they're too frightened of reprisals if they say anything. Did you look at tackling the code of silence which exists within the criminal milieu?
Look, we looked at a request to vary the right to silence. That's something that we have not knocked out totally, because there have been calls for that on other occasions in recent years to go to the British model. But that's something we'll look at in the future. But I don't believe that changing that would make it any easier to get the identification. We are cooperating, the police are cooperating with the New South Wales Crime Commission, which has the power to force people to give
It's already
information.
got Star Chamber powers.
That's right.
And it's using them in the current drive-by investigation.
Well, I understand they are, yes.
Ammunition. The police commissioner said he couldn't understand that you could go into a gun shop, even though you're licensed for a shotgun, and buy rounds for a pistol. You're going to stop that now. Will you get it through the shooters and fishers in the New South Wales Upper House?
Well, I expect we will. From all accounts, we're confident of getting that through too. I mean, I think any party that steps in the way and stops this current legislative program would be really thumbing their nose at the rest of the community. We've been in crisis in drive-by shootings in this state for years, and we're the first government to actually give decent powers to the police, including the consorting power, an updated consorting power which they've been seeking for years but have been knocked back by the previous Labor government.
Now, I know you were with the DPP for many years, you've been with the ICAC, but you're in government now and you get access to criminal intelligence. Yes. Are you satisfied that we have the criminal intelligence on the organised crime gangs as they exist in this country?
Well, I'm satisfied that the police have the capacity to gather it. I don't look at it all. I haven't looked at any in recent times, but I do have the right at some stage to look at the material they rely on in their applications to the court. But at this stage, I don't need to know that. I think it's better that a few people as possible know what they have.
Attorney-General, will this raft of measures you've introduced this week stop the drive-by shootings?
I think it will help reduce them considerably. I think it will send a message out to those cowardly criminals that are shooting at houses where innocent people live, as well as sometimes perhaps guilty people, that they're just not going to get away with it, that the O'Farrell government and the governments of the other states and territories of this country are in a war situation and we're going to fight till we win it.
Greg Smith, thanks very much.
Thanks, Quentin.